Hey, kia ora, Helen Brahms here, coming to you live from Sun City in Arizona. Hope you're having a super fantastic, sparkling start to Winning Wednesday. Yes, that day of the week where we celebrate our wins, although we should be celebrating them as we go along, because that makes the win more memorable when we celebrate them as they occur. So, what are you celebrating this week? I got lots of cool stuff. I've got celebrating the fact that I'm getting to go to Salt Lake City Institute of Genealogy in January virtually, because it was meant to be in person, but they made the decision to change it to a virtual event, for which I am extremely grateful for. So I'll also be mentioning that tomorrow, because it's Gratitude Day tomorrow, but I am grateful for it anyway. And then my other win this week is I've got... I'm helping out Mailbox Power with their Lunch and Learn today, and we're talking about switching out your birthday automation cards, because it's that time of the year when they should be switched, which spurred me into, oh yeah, I have to make my card for next year. So that all got done, designed, and everything else, and I am super excited. And I'm going to be talking about this. And hang on, I'm going to get the other one up. And this. So what does a key and a foot have to do with birthday automations? You're just going to have to come along and find out. And if you want to come join us, it's at youtube.com/mailboxpower. Starts at 11 a.m. Pacific time. So in about an hour and a half. If you're watching this live right now, it starts at 11 a.m. Pacific time, and we're going to be doing the Lunch and Learn on about changing up birthday automations, and this foot and this key play a role in that. So you'll have to come find out why. And then your tell your story question of the day, and I remembered to change it. What is one of your favorite holiday/vacation memories? I have so many of them. It's like, which ones do I even start with? Because anytime we got to go away and have a vacation/holiday, we just had an incredible time. Remember one year I was in the Air Force. It was Christmas of 85. Oh no, I told you guys that one. Hang on, we're going to find a different one. I already told you that one about my grandfather's last Christmas with us. Let's see. Oh, I know. So we were up in Rotorua one time, and Rotorua is in the central of the geothermal area of New Zealand. And a very big tourist spot in New Zealand for all the geothermal activity that's in and around there. It's a short drive from Rotorua to Hobbiton, which is up in Matamata. It's a 2-hour drive from Rotorua to Waitomo, where the glowworm caves are, and you can go blackwater tubing through the caves and all of that, and see glowworms that way. They got lots of different stuff over there that you can do. It's a short trip, and because a lot of cruise ships will go into Tauranga, which is about an hour away from Rotorua, and they'll bus people over. But you've got all sorts of there's just so much that you can do from that port, is that it's really hard to decide. And so I would always suggest to my clients when they're going down there, if they were doing the cruise, all right, we're going to send you back to that area so you can do more stuff. But this particular one, how old would I have been? I don't remember how old I was. Probably maybe a teenager or a preteen, somewhere around there. And so we were up there, and we were going to the Buried Village, which is outside of Rotorua. And what happened is that in the 1800s, Mount Tarawera blew its top. And when you see it from the sky, there's this great big scar that goes across the top, and it literally blew the top off this mountain. And there's this, you can do air tours where you get to see it from the air and everything else. But it was enough that it buried the pink and white terraces, which were one of the 7 wonders of the world at the time. Although they now believe they have figured out where the terraces are, and I think they're going to try and excavate them, I think. That's last I heard, but that was a few years ago. Haven't updated myself on that one. But anyway, we were out on the lake, and we got to do this boat ride out on the lake, which was really cool. And I had my little woolly hat on, pulled down over my ears, and I had this massive, I'd started that trip off on the way up on that trip, my throat started burning and coming up like fire. I ended up with a throat infection, which later on, and so every time we went out anywhere, I had to put my hat on because it was wintertime at the time, just to stop the air infections from setting in. And so we got to do this we did this ride out on this boat on Lake Tarawera, which was at the base of the mountain. And it was actually pretty good. It was cold out there because I remember we were all wrapped up, had my little woolly hat on, protecting my ears. And we also visited the buried village. And this village was completely buried when the mount blew its top back in the 1800s. And it was really cool going through this because everything was as it was excavated. So they did a whole, archaeological dig thing on this thing to uncover this village. Well, they kind of dug it out a little bit because they're trying to looking for survivors. And you got to see all the huts, and they were caked in mud, and lava and all of that sort of stuff. And there were all these cool little plaques. But I remember being in this one little hut, and it was talking about, it was a Maori village, and it was talking about how after X number, like 7 or 8 days after the eruption, they found a guy buried in this hut, and he was still alive. And I thought, wow, that's really cool. And all I could think of was, how would you do that for 8 days where you can't move? You're trapped in whatever shape you were trapped in at the time when the lava came thrown and the lava and mud came flowing through your village and everything else, or got thrown on it. There's got to be times when you just want to stretch out and you can't. And I was trying to imagine what this was like, and how was he laying? And apparently he was curled up in a ball. And I'm like, yeah, I can't stay curled up in a ball very long. I got to stretch. And so I was trying to put myself in this guy's mind of what it would be like to be curled up in that same position for a certain number of days before that, wondering if anybody was ever going to find you, not having no idea how much time had passed. And what about air? Am I going to run out of air? What do I do for air? Did he start digging his way out? What happened? What was it like? And I have a pretty vivid imagination, but that one it scared me. That one scared me. Being in a place where you had no sensation of time, you're curled up, you can't stretch. There's not a lot of wiggle room where you are, and you're trapped like that for 8 days, and you have no idea how much time is passing. It feels like it's months, years. It was just really hard to put myself in his place as to what it would have been like. What was his mentality going? What was going through his mind and that sort of stuff. But that one has always had an impact on me for remembering, just for remembering the trip there and seeing what survived. How many people, looking at how many people survived when it erupted. I think it was the middle of the night, if I remember correctly. So people were in their huts asleep. And you got to see the huts that were destroyed. You got to see some huts that were preserved. And you got to see some of their tools and implements and dishes and things that they were using at the time. So you got to see all that really cool stuff. I mean, I love history. And so now I'm wondering, because of the region, I'm wondering if there's any genealogy connection because of the region it was in. Yeah, I'm gonna have to explore that one. But it was just very interesting to read about the people that survived, how they survived. Some were found fairly quickly. Others, this one guy, 7 or 8 days, he was buried in his hut in this one position. And it talked about how they found him and things, and things slipping and sliding everywhere. We had a big storm come through last night. It was very windy, a lot of rain. We were rocking and rolling a little bit. And like I told somebody, I said, I have no idea when it finished because it lulled me to sleep. At one point I was trying to figure out what this one noise was because it felt like something was scratching through like paper bags or anything. And I'm like, oh, there's no paper bags in the bedroom, but it feels like it's right on the other side of the bed where I have the boxes stored before I take them over to storage, which I haven't yet done, as you can tell. And I was going to Zeph, and Zephy's like curled up under the blanket. She's out to it. And I'm like, don't you hear that? And of course, the more we're talking, the quieter it got. So we never did find out what caused the noise. But You never know. So, yeah, that was one of my favorite ones, was when we got to go and explore the buried village just out of Rotorua. I think that was also the same day we went to the Green and Blue Lakes. There's these 2 lakes on the way there or on the way back. We did it. And one's blue and one's green. One is toxic that you can't go swimming in. And the other one is big enough that they use it for rowing competitions. And the day that we were there happened to be a rowing competition going. And so we were able to watch them, the rowing competitions as they were happening and that sort of stuff. I think we actually walked around the lake, because I remember going down one side. Yeah, we did. My parents are big walkers. So the blue lake, I'm trying to remember. One's a smaller round lake, and you don't go swimming in it because the water's toxic. I can't remember if it's acidic from the geothermal activity or what it is, but for some reason you can't go swimming in it. It will kill you. And then the other lake, and there's just like this piece of land that goes between the two, and then you've got the green lake, and what is it, the other way around? And that's one that's big enough that they do rowing. They do a lot of rowing on that one. They have a lot of rowing competitions on that particular lake. And we actually did a walk around the lake, and remember watching the competitions as we were walking around the lake. It was kind of cool. But that was another holiday memory that we did. And that one was a colder time of the year because we had jackets and woolly hats on. So that would have been, that was probably the August school holidays when we did that one, because that would have been the end of winter. Yeah, that was probably in August we did that one. But anyway, I got to go. I got a lot I got to do in the next 15 minutes before I have to get on the chat, and then I'm on the chat for 30 minutes, and then I'm on to getting prep for the lunch and learn. So if you want to join us on the lunch and learn, it is youtube.com/mailboxpower. Excuse me. And we start that at, every Wednesday at 11 a.m. And today I will be talking about changing out your birthday cards, and this key and this foot play roles in those. So go out, have a super fantastic, sparkling, winning Wednesday. And don't forget to celebrate your wins. And we will catch you guys back here around 6 p.m. Mountain Time tonight. Yeah, kind of not sticking to that a lot lately. Depends on Zephy and when she's walking, and who we meet up with when we're out walking, and how long we end up chatting with people as well, because I kind of lose track of time when I'm talking with people. But anyway, go out, have a super fantastic, sparkling day, and we'll catch you guys later this evening. Hei konera.